After all, it's Gothic times, and I'm your host, Geocache. So let's start with Gothai salami. This I saw just walking down the street. I wish I remember what I was doing, or where I was going, or even what time of the day it was. But all I remember was seeing this sign, Gothai salami. And I can only assume it means. It sort of seems familiar that there's a salami or sausage that's somehow about goth in the name. Like, it really might be goth islami. I don't know, maybe. I know I've seen it in the grocery store, something about like starts with goth. That's why I'm bringing it up first and why it caught my eye in the first place, but then some other grammatical ending, and then salami. But for some reason, seeing it on this chalkboard, like on the street, just gothai salami, was super nice on the eyes, honestly. I just thought, wow, this is so comforting. And it made me feel at home, even though it was just advertising a butcher shop, and I'm more toward the vegetarian side of things. But yeah, it really made me happy and enough to write it down. I guess other thoughts I could have had about this was something about like picturing a really beautiful salami. It sort of makes me want to eat it just because it says goth, and I'm not kidding you. But I didn't. I just kept on walking and wrote this in my notes. So let's go to the next one. Why do pregnant people betray me? This is one I really thought of recently, and let me explain what I mean by that. So much respect to pregnancy and people who are undergoing this process. However, I was just reflecting today because there's been. I don't know if this is something other people experience. Like, I truly don't know if this is relatable or not. But I sometimes am following these certain. Usually it's musicians, honestly, or like maybe a YouTuber. And it's really someone I like watch for a long time or listen to for a long time. And then they'll reach a point where they get pregnant, as and like they wanted that, and then they're like super happy that they're pregnant, and it's like a really positive thing for them. And sometimes even more than once they'll get pregnant, and it's weird, but basically every time I feel so sad about it, but in a way that's like not sad. You'd think I could be happy for them, but it's like I don't believe they're happy. I can like rationally know that because it's like, they have free will, they chose to do this, they're posting about it, being excited about it. Like, and it's a thing many people, it's a good news, and not just a good news, like that people want to build in their life, and that's something beautiful to them. And I agree it's beautiful, but for some reason when it's like a person, like an artist, and I've been following them and they had this certain life, or that I felt I knew some way that they are, even just through their creations or something, and then they actually like get pregnant, for some reason I feel so not actually betrayed. I just wrote this as like a way to capture that feeling, but I feel almost like like left behind in some way, because I think that's why it's happening to like artists that I follow and admire the work of, and usually them as a person. Because usually, if I'm really following an artist and not just an album or a song, it really is because I really like them as a person. Like, something about them that I feel I get conveyed through their things is like something nice or something. So it's like I really feel some, not like actually connection, like, oh, I know them, not even in a, what's the word, parasocial way. I don't even mean in this way, just somehow I feel something with this person or their art, and I'm someone who doesn't want kids, at least my own children. Like, I think kids are I've come a long way. I used to be like, as a child, I hated children. Now I can respect babies. They're cool people sometimes. If they're not, it's the parents' fault usually. So, okay, like, I still am not great with kids, but I think they're cool. And I just don't want to have one really in my life all the time. I think it's cool to know some from other people's. but it's not what I want. But anyway, so then I feel somehow like, wow, I feel like I used to resonate with this person's art and now they're having a child. This changes everything. So yeah, this was my thoughts, and I only realized that I've felt this way sort of recently. Like, oh, that's weird that I feel that so often. Because it comes more and more and more. So many of these people you never think you'd see have kids, and then you're just like, whoa. Yeah, so that was one topic I thought of. I'm not sure what's gothic about that. Maybe life and death. Okay, next one is gender euphoria and the drill screwdriver. Da, 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 da. Okay, this one. Wow, how to talk about this? So this was like I think the first topic I wrote about to. This is like the first topic I wrote about to think, wow, I'll really talk about this on my podcast because what a weird phenomenon in my brain. So let's start. This could be a long story. I'm gonna take a little shrimp chip. Another ASMR moment for you. Okay, sorry if you're not a fan of ASMR, but this is pretty nice to chew. And yes, so the screw. It's not even a screwdriver, it's more like a drill. This is a pretty long story. So let's begin me acquiring my possession of the drill. Just so we're clear, we're talking the one that sort of like you press it and then it makes the sound like ree, and it's really mechanical and it's going into the wall. So I bought one of these. Yeah. Insane purchase. I actually ordered it online and then picked it up the same day, just like 2 minutes walk from where I was, in like I think 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah, that's right. The Canadian in me is shocked. That's like a mythical creature back home. Anyway, so I did that. It's this drill, good price. It has all the type of heads to it, everything. And I was so excited about this. Like this made me feel powerful. I was walking down the street with it. I was holding it. I was like really feeling happy about it for some reason. Oh god, I'm sorry. I'm I'm getting emotional. No, I'm just choking on the shrimp chip. But yeah, this somehow was like super exciting and awesome. And it really made me feel like, wow, like sort of how I felt when I started getting into like physical labor jobs. And it just makes you feel like, wow, okay, I'm capable of something. Like that's how I felt about the drill. The reason I put gender euphoria in this, I really don't like. No shade to this word or phrase, but it recently, just as I talk, sometimes I realize, wow, the dangers of doing some type of podcast format with some ADHD tendencies because I can really just, I guess it's okay. Like in general in life, I used to seek comfort in some terminologies for things because it could let me like research something and find other people going through maybe something similar to me. Now I am sort of dropping certain likenesses towards some terminologies because it actually gives me a bad feeling. I don't know why. Just for me personally, this does not extend to other people, but really just for myself. And like this thing I just said, even gender euphoria, before I was like, wow, I love this terminology. Like, because that learning about that was me learning that like that's a valid thing. I felt that it's even a phenomena experienced by other people. It wasn't about the lingo, it was just about like, oh, this is actually a phenomenon recognized by others. Like this thing I feel sometimes is like, and it's a thing. Okay, that's cool. Maybe that's unnecessary to even have to have that realization, but it can happen and was nice. And so I was like, okay, now I'm sort of like, I feel trapped by it in a way. Like I would rather, I think it's part of the acceptance thing. Like you just accept something in yourself, so then you don't really need to even talk about it really, or even talk about it to yourself too much. You just accept it. But anyway, I called it this in my notes just to sort of convey like it somehow makes me feel happy about a part of myself that I couldn't always access, maybe is a way to explain it. And that feels awesome. So that was me with my drill. And then I was having it, and turns out it didn't even provide me with what I needed with the project that I specifically bought it for. But that's okay. I haven't even used it since, but it makes me so happy. I think someone else used it since, like maybe for something I have some memory, but yeah, for sure. But I myself never used it yet, but I love it. But anyway, I brought it to my studio, and I was like, just not for any use, just like move it in with all my other stuff for creation. And I was like, oh yeah, I have a drill, haha, just to myself. And then we were doing stuff like setting up the space and needing some things, and like it came the time where it seemed a drill could be helpful to the situation, and I was like, wow. Let's just let a moment for that to sink in. Like, wow. The drill is stepping into its prime. So I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I offered it up. I was like, guys, I have a drill with things too. I had a whole other box with like organized like screws, I guess, and like the things you drill into the wall. Even with anchors, like it's a cool setup. It's actually cool. It's cool to have tools. I love a toolbox. Shout out to my mother. She always had cool toolboxes. Like a lot of them with so many extensive tools, and like also cool toolboxes. Like sometimes old retro ones. Sometimes like retro tools like that you don't even use anymore for like really archaic things, but she would just have them. And then also all the usable stuff. Drills galore. Like anyways, so just a shout out. But yeah, so where is I going with that? My drill. I offered up. I have all the screws, everything. And then for some reason, the way this information was received, like, it was just normal. Like, it was fun. There was like, okay, like, maybe. It just felt like they didn't really, like, let that information sink in. Like, yeah, I have that here, and it could solve all your problems. Also, though, it's a studio. All the space around us, like, would probably have this stuff too. So it's sort of like, then I felt a little dumb. I was sort of thinking, maybe I shouldn't have even offered this. Like, was that just so dumb? I was so excited about something, but maybe it's not even necessary to have. And maybe I was too, it's like this weird feelings of shame coming from nowhere except myself. But it's like, oh, was this like being too excited about something? Or like, oh, I seem so excited about this, but almost feeling like dumb for being excited about something so normal to someone else. Like, that's just how it felt. But it's okay that something's exciting to me and normal for someone else. But I don't have to feel ashamed about it. But it's this weird, like, yeah, and that's why I wrote it down, because I just found that so interesting. Then, couple minutes later, someone's like, oh, something, like, do you have that drill? I'm like, wow. Looks like everyone was on the same page all along. I got it. I don't even remember if we used it in that moment. But then I was showing my like screws and the anchors for the wall. So I was like, yeah, I even have this for the wall. Because they were like, but we need to put something in the wall properly. Like with this type of wall, you really need that anchor thing. I was like, well, take a look at what I have. Moral of the story, I don't know. I had this whole weird moment of shame, which I knew was only coming from myself anyway, but it just was weird to feel so bad about something coming from such a pure, excited energy. Also, no one actually did anything to make me feel bad about it, or it was just like a normal reaction, but it was just the contrast with my hyper excitedness that made me feel like, oh, that was dumb to be so happy or something. But then in the end, everyone was happy, and it was like acknowledged as cool. So I was like, okay, word. So I don't know. I just thought that was so interesting. And I feel like, if anything, I feel like the moral to the story is like, if you're excited about something, be excited about something that's so real. And maybe even if you're overthinking it, like, oh, no one else thinks this is cool or exciting, just like stick with it, like sort of bet on it. Like if you feel something about this with yourself, just like bet on it, so that even if other people give you the sense, not even truly, but just like give you the sense that they're not as into it or aren't going to support it or something, but it doesn't matter because you're like, yeah, I know it's cool though. And you're just like having faith in your own thing, even if it's just your own excitement or your own interest. Like, you should just support that. And that's enough. Like, that's all you need. Okay, so that was my first ever topic I wrote down to write about for this episode. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. So, yeah. In case you weren't aware, this is actually a very, like, not to speak too highly of myself, but a very professional podcast production. We are run by secret production companies. It's true. I get a lot of questions about that. I just politely decline answering because it's a very high profile business. So it's better not to share too much about the insider business of things. But anyway, if it at all seems like I am just starting out on this momentous venture of a podcast, it's actually all part, like, I'm just trying to show you as a viewer who might be curious what it might look like and feel like to do a podcast for the first time. But make no mistake, I've been long in this game. Okay. Okay, so speaking of podcasts, and speaking of gender, even though I sort of denounced these lingos, let's go on to my next topic, gender differences in podcasts. This one feels quite like exposing to talk about, because it involves some pop culture references and it involves some podcast references, like other people's podcasts. That does feel exposing to admit that I watch. So, this is a tough one, guys. This is a tough one, but let's get into it. So, I guess actually, no, this is the beauty of doing anything. You can choose how much you say. Maybe I won't even say the names of these podcasts, and then you'll never know. Okay. Anyway, so I watched this podcast. Actually, it just ended. It was on for a few years, and it really just ended like last month or something. So, yeah, that's the only clue you'll get. But anyway, it's like from LA. It's two women. They're not controversial. They're problematic. They're probably not the best people. One I'd say is like actually cool. The other, yeah, I don't really like her, honestly. Like, whatever. As a human being, fine enough, but just, yeah. I know this, like, for example, I would never buy merch or do their Patreon or something, because, like, I'm not going to give my money to these people. Okay, I guess I watch them on YouTube, though, but, okay. So, anyway, I watch this podcast, and it's really, like, this LA vibe, like I just said, a certain type of person is doing the podcast. The topics are pretty boring. It's literally just about like pop culture or judging people, or about like relationship, like one night stand experiences, like this type of thing, or like thinking they give advice, but it's like really not anything crazy good or anything, but it's like wow, but it's like so just like mediocre at best, but very like feminine. Like, they're two women. This is really something they talk about. Like, this is somehow really part of the podcast, this like feminine vibe, and just keep that in mind. So yeah, and I watch it, and I watched because it's over now, but I really watched it, and I don't even know why. It has none of my interests. Like, one of the person's a YouTuber that I did watch since childhood, so that's probably why. But like, this was not people I like. Sometimes I even hated what they were talking about or hated what I was watching, so it's really weird. But I was okay with it. Like, I would sit through and continue to watch it. So this is the first part of this. The second part is like, I then stumbled, okay, we can talk about this openly. I was trying to find Suicide Boys interviews, because they're really elusive. There's not too many interviews, and I'd realized I've been a fan of a decent amount of their songs for so long, and I know nothing about these guys, and their fan base really knows them well and like calls them the names, but they have so many different names, honestly. Like they have their names, and then they have like the names they go by as artists, and then they have sort of like other names. We have a knock at the production company. Please stand by for this interruption. Wow. biggest jump scare. Sorry for interruption, just a little shady business dealings. It's okay though if someone has to come in. You can, if you need something, come. You can say hello. They can say hi if they want. It would be good. I'm just exploiting my underpaid workers. No. At this studio, everyone receives no money. So, anyway, what was I talking about? I really don't remember. Oh yeah. Okay. So there was just so much. So I was like, I need to know more about Suicide Boys. Okay. So I'm looking for interviews. Weirdly, their longest, most recent, and like by recent I mean like reflecting who they are now, because I don't know. Especially I think if you're like were/are but not actively anymore, an addict. This is like a big difference than if you're seeing like an interview of someone in those days versus like if they've become sober and are like reflecting on their past and stuff. So okay, more like recent interview was on the Theo Von podcast. I only learnt about this man, which name is suspiciously close to Geo. No, I don't know. Okay, for some reason I hear Theo Von said in Trisha Paytas' voice. I don't know why. Anyway, but I'm watching this podcast. It's actually like he's interviewing them in a pretty chill way. He's sort of, it's giving male, but that's the thing. That's why I wrote this note, because I'm thinking, wow, it's actually the exact same basically as this woman's podcast, the two of them that's now been canceled. It's the same. It's really the same. Like any like lack of intelligence, no offense, just I don't know how else to say it, or any like any sort of thing that to me is obvious and is made like some exceptionally big crazy realization moment, deep moment on this podcast. It's like making me cringe on the Theo Von podcast with himself. The Suicide Boys were super cool, like they actually were awesome. It was more Theo Von that was sometimes it's giving like, ooh, but I don't know. It's not like, well, then I looked him up and he sort of, I don't know. I don't think I like him because I'm like, why are you interviewing everyone? Then I realized that's his thing. He just actually interviews everyone. That's what I learned that day. I was like, wow, when you look at his thing, he has literally interviewed everyone. I was just like, wow, that's pretty interesting because I'm really cringing out and sort of finding it like, ooh. I'm judging it more on the male podcast. And for some reason on the female one, even though it's like just as bad in all aspects, honestly. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel so interesting about that. Part of me wants to be like, well, sort of makes sense. I'd still rather prefer the more like female of two evils. But also, like, no, I don't know, because is that even a true, like, niceness of womanhood? I don't think so. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. So, this is, I just sort of found that interesting. But as I wrote, both controversial, but am I more forgiving to some? I would say, yeah, I'm more forgiving to the woman one. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, honestly. It's just what I noticed in myself. And the Theo Von, okay, thank you for interviewing Suicide Boys, but thank you, Suicide Boys, for going on his podcast, I guess. But really, when I went to see his account and what some of the other things are that he's posting and interviewing and stuff, I was horribly shocked. I was like, God, this is crazy, honestly. Like, yeah, so I'm not a fan. But anyway, the one other thing I noticed on this, like, similar but different podcast situation is the advertisements. Oh my God, because both are so, like, high production, like, yeah, I don't know if Theo Von's in LA, but this type of, like, United States, like, certain vibe podcast, like, is so similar. And the advertisements though are hilarious. It's giving like so gendered for some reason. And I guess it makes sense because probably the advertisements look at the demographics, like who's watching, and then they're like catering to that. And I guess the Yvonne podcast is more male, and I really get that. However, it's just so funny. Like the advertisements are so different. Like on Theo Von, it's really about like, I don't know. Like, I think there was literally something about, like, make your dick last longer. Oh, maybe I can't say this on YouTube. Make your lower genitalia stay in an upward position and stronger longer. And, like, it's a whole ad read about this, like, basically some and like male and sexual enhancement drug or something, and he's having to read this with a straight face and is like reading this ad read, like, so seriously. And then it's just as crazy on this other podcast of the women's, but it's just completely different. It's about like, I don't know, honestly, sometimes they would do a lot that is like gambling, like DraftKings casino or something, like these, like, I don't know, just these American like online gambling. So that's like for everyone. No, but I don't know. It would really be more, or like, I don't know, some like women's activewear company. Like honestly, nothing as entertaining as the dick enhancement. I was shocked, and really seeing some guy like having to read this with a straight face, it was pretty funny. So this is interesting. I now watch neither of those podcasts. So, oh, that's actually okay. Still, again, speaking of podcasts on the podcast, 'cause I was gonna say, now I've just been watching Bretman Rock's podcast, which is actually a super nice podcast, and one of the nicer ones for sure, I would say. But he has this segment where he'll like read a journal entry, and I thought, wow, that would be so nice to do, but I actually forgot about it. But this is basically like a journal entry because all my thoughts, but maybe in the future I'll do it because I think this would be pretty fun and funny. Or like crazy, but I wouldn't read the too crazy ones. Okay, well, I hope you're enjoying these topics so far. If you are listening, please let me know how you feel about this podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe. There's a few on this list, like, now that I know, well, maybe I will get through the list. Let's just see. Okay, let's go one by one. People's faces when they walk away from one another. This is a deep topic. This, like, let me put my sunglasses on for this one. Because, oh, are they clean? Clean enough. This is a deep, deep topic. Wow. People's faces when they're walking away from one another. I don't know if this is like self-explanatory what I'm talking about from this title itself, but this is something that hits so deep for me, and I've really been watching this like quite a while, I would say. Maybe. Like, okay, so people's faces when they're walking away from each other. Like, for example, say you're sitting on the tram and you're just sitting there by the window, and then you're sort of close to the entranceway, and then you're seeing someone say bye to one another, and then one person goes in the tram and they're like smiling. They're like, bye, love you too, saying bye. and then they turn away, and then you're there being able to watch both persons' expression as they turn away from each other. So interesting, and I love watching these moments. It's like so interesting because you watch someone go like from such this like cinematic expression of emotion, like "Rah," like so like in it with the other person, to like suddenly being by themselves again. But it happens in like a split second. Or with some people, I've noticed it's a more of a longer transition from that like super smiling, like so nice to see you face to their by themselves expression. Some have a longer transition time of that, which is also interesting to see. Like watching someone's face fall, it's like watching such a interesting thing. I don't know. There's not like any. There's nothing else to say. It's really as simple as that. It's just this interaction, and I love watching it. But this is a super interesting. Like, even though it's so quick to say, it feels like I could talk about it forever because this is such an interesting topic to me. And sometimes it's really crazy because someone's like so someone's so happy to see the other person or something, and it's really crazy, and then they're like instantly like as if nothing's happened when they say goodbye, and then I'm just watching them. Do they see me watching? I don't know. Okay, so think about that and maybe watch for it in your life. So, the next topic. Oh god, this one. Oh no, okay, thank god we have one more before we get to the. If someone has to come, like, come in. It's fine. If he has to come in, it's super okay. Okay. The next one. Okay, I think I will end on this next one because then after that I think is a nice starting point for maybe like a part 2. Maybe. Let's see. So, let's see how it goes. But anyway, doing this one is the one I wrote. Doing the hard things, it's hard, but how it makes you feel. This is one that when I wrote it, I was really just relying on that to jog a thought process in myself, and then I just have to trust that that same thought process is what I was thinking when I wrote it down. Like, I'm not fully sure what it means, but I know what it makes me think about, and I'm pretty sure that was my intent when writing it, was just to make, you know what I mean? Like, knowing, like, I sort of like setting myself up to recall what I, so yeah, because I'm not really sure, but when I read this, I think of it like, okay, doing hard things is hard, but I'm talking like by hard things, there's so many type of hard things, many that I don't even know about, but I'm talking about almost like, I don't want to say small hard things, but things that are like so actually easy to not do. And you could live your whole life probably not doing these things, but it is better to do them, but it's hard. And I think that's why I wrote doing the hard things, it's hard, but how it makes you feel, because how it makes at least me feel is so nice actually. It's always like, I don't know, it's like maybe just really just like doing something and not hesitating and just being like, I have to fucking do it. Like jumping off a cliff. You're like so scared, and then you're just like, thank God I did it. Okay. You know, I don't know. I sort of decided I'll never do this again in my life. Like, there was a point I thought I had to jump off a cliff. Like, I mean, into the water. Oh my God. Okay, I mean, into the water, like a swimming situation. Yeah, there was a point where I would find myself in these settings, and I really thought Yeah, it's a moral obligation that I make this jump. In the interest of being cool, like, yeah, mostly that. Like, I really want to be cool. I'm talking about when I was like young, child, child and young teenager. Yeah, they were, or like bridges, like a bridge. Okay, again, into the water. Like, yeah, into the river or something, or like up north in Ontario, like so many cliffs to jump. Honestly, I'd still jump on those, but that's a different thing. That's really more between you and the nature. Like, that's why I would still do that up there, because this is sort of a moral obligation, honestly. It's more than that is different. That's something completely different. But anyway, I sort of realized, okay, I don't have to make myself do this anymore, so now I just live without that fear. Like, life's already scary enough to put yourself through some scary things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I find it super hard to do something hard. Like, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I receive some feedback in my life like, wow, that's so cool, or something, like something I did is cool, and like with the implication that like it requires hard work. But like this type of things is okay for me to do because it's just like having fun with life while you can. But I'm talking about actually, like, say you have a bad habit and you're like, I know I need to stop this. I actually need to stop this if I want like an enriched, a more enriched, better, like more living my life to the best of its capability way. I really, or even just being even just a little bit in that direction, or even just like a little bit not harming yourself in that way, or just maybe you just recognize, wow, I need to, maybe it's time to move on from this way of being. Like, sometimes that's just the case. And this is, I think, what I mean by that. Those moments I'll have, and that's why I write that that's how it makes you feel, because it's worth doing those. It's actually worth like fighting your demon and just doing something hard. But it's fucking hard, and like I think I realized that about myself, that it's like about sort of willpower and like self, what's the word, like not self restraint, but like just having a bit of a handle over yourself, like not giving in to any impulse and desire, like having just to have a little bit of like impulse control. Yeah, this is like what I recently realized I need to do, and honestly, I'm really grateful for this. Like, you know, I think it's important to know about. We might have a special delivery happening. Please stand by. Welcome. Never be sorry. You can say hello only if you feel like it. Oh. I think I've had this microphone for like weirdly long time. Sorry, I can't see you. Okay. I couldn't see. But really, come say hi if you want to. If you consent to your image being shown on the biggest podcast. We have a special guest with us in this moment. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Motus Photos, aka Yusuf, aka Lil Muslim, here in the house. Yeah.
I've been listening to your songs all day, actually.
Wow, thank you so much. Which songs?
Just the one.
Ah, okay. Thank you. I really appreciate that. What's this episode about? What's happening?
Oh, God.
I have no idea what's happening here.
That's a good question. Actually, so many topics.
Wow. What is the most pressing one?
I'd say the most pressing one was this story about a drill. I captioned it gender euphoria drill slash screwdriver, people needing it, feeling embarrassed for no reason, but then it's useful. This was a big topic tonight.
Wow. Like you expanded the gender euphoria? Drilling?
Yeah, sort of buying a drill.
Buying the drill, still not even using it. So imagine using it, what will happen? But then you said it was hard, like it was good, then it was hard. Why was it hard?
So kind of you to ask. It was hard because I had this moment where I offered for someone to use it because I thought they might need it, and then it was so normal to them, at least I think this is what it was. Something about their reaction wasn't negative, but I felt so embarrassed about my excitement, about being so excited that I had this and could offer it.
Don't let other people bring you down. Listening to Pitbull's advice, you know? You're the only one that makes your own future and happiness. So don't let it bring down your happiness. I'm so happy for you. You got the drill, and the drill makes you happy. So you need to even drill it more into your head. You know, you should be happy about the drill.
Wow, I thank you for blessing this podcast with your wise words.
Of course.
This was. I'm gonna think about that for a while now.
Yeah, like if someone doesn't match your excitement, that doesn't mean anything at all. You know, it's just their own feelings about it, not your feelings about it.
Wow.
So are you happy again about the drill?
Yes.
I'm very
Yes.
excited. And do you know how to use it, or you will learn how to use it?
I know, I guess. I didn't know, but it was easy enough to figure out.
Nice. I have never used a drill in my life. Yeah, it's kind of scary, you know, because like I'm kind of like older person, so I need to know how to use drill, but I never used drill in my life.
No, it is scary.
Yeah.
This one, the reason I think this was easier to figure out is like the thing that would make me anxious about it, hypothetically, is like putting that bit in and then will it come out when you're drilling. But this one, all the drill bits are like attached to it in a weird circle around the top, and then you just like flip it in or take it out.
Oh, okay. I also I'm scared like because there is certain drill for like cement walls, certain drill for like fake walls, certain drill for stuff.
Oh.
Do you need the plastic thing that like inside the wall
We
or whatever?
talked about that.
And it's like super
today.
scary, you know?
No, that plastic thing's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I should know how to use it now that I want to get into production and stuff, but it's okay. Maybe I'll learn from you, you know?
It's here in the studio, so you can use it anytime.
Wow. Let's build some stuff.
Wow.
Let's drill together and be happy together.
Wow.
Get over our fears together. There should be next episode, just drilling stuff
Just
together.
drilling.
Yeah.
Drilling it.
Yeah.
Let's drill.
Yes.
This is not a drill.
Oh, let's make some bars around it. Wait, let me think about it. It can be edited, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, help yourself to some shrimp chips if you want.
Thank you. I'll have one. Maybe ASMR.
Love the way you think. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I have few time, so what's...
Okay, but it's still recording? Okay.
Okay, so last words, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for
I have to go back to
coming.
my shift, and I'll let your camera record whatever. Like, I hope the battery lasts long, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for
I am
blessing the
happy to
podcast.
interrupt mistakenly, but I'm sorry if it caused any problems.
No, I was on my way out. I was on the last topic.
Okay.
This was the best surprise ever. You really blessed this podcast tonight.
Surprise
Thank
for
you.
the audience and for you also.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm super happy, and I hope you get to finish your last topic for the camera guys.
Do you have any? Okay. Do you have any bars about the drill?
Yo, I went to the store to buy a drill, but that was not a drill. I went to my friend and he told me to chill, but I wasn't chill, and I became sad about it, so I have to drill. This is not a drill.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mic drop.
Boom. Literal mic drop. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you soon. Well, everyone, thank you so much for coming to the Gothic Times. I've been your host for the evening, Geocache, and I hope you tune in to next time's episode. Remember, this is a bi-weekly podcast, which means every week I will try my best to get by and continue making this podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, beautiful.